So hi everybody, welcome to September's reading. You're all very welcome. My name is Angela, I'm an intuitive teacher. Welcome to my channel. Everybody's welcome here, of any background, denomination, whatever you relate to. I tend to work with my divination tools here, and also I've got a bit of a general gist with September. I've not really tuned into it yet. I'm just going to see what comes out in this reading, so it's just how I like to work with spirit. I'm just going to start off with the planets, with a bit of astrology, because for me it's all interlinked with astrology, numerology, you know, all the mystic subject areas. For me, they're all one. So we're actually in the shadow period, which is the build up to the Mercury retrograde. So this is when the planet Mercury, of communications, transportation, of how we communicate with each other, how we speak, how we relate, on a mercurial level. It's going retrograde on the 9th of September to the 2nd of October. So this Mercury retrograde is going to transit backwards through the sign of Libra, and then about 2 weeks in, the midpoint's going to hit Virgo. Now, about 10 days to 2 weeks pre and post the retrograde period, we have what's called a shadow period. So it's a build up. The planet is slowing down and then it will speed up. So it's like we clear the cycle after these dates have happened. So I will often say to clients, it's not always the best time to make a massive purchase or a massive decision. It's good for tying up loose ends. It's really good for researching and going over and editing our material. It's a brilliant time to study, to learn, especially this one is Mercury going, it's going from Libra, which is an air sign, which is to do with mental faculties, really back into Virgo, which is actually ruled by Mercury. It's a mercurial sign. So, Virgo energy can be very like deep thinking, can get wound up in its head, a bit like Libra as well. But what's really good is that Virgo can be a very industrious sign. It gets a bad rap, Virgo. So big happy birthday to those Virgos out there as well. So I feel like this, I've learned to not fear Mercury retrograde periods. They again, they get a bad rap, but actually it's a brilliant time. Like if you're a writer or you are a creator, to really just play around with your material and your content, and also to just learn and research and explore. It's really a time of opening up to seeing things in a different way. And Virgo is the sign of the hermit. Libra is the sign of the justice and scales. So, and this is going to be really, really interesting. The reason that it's not suggested to make big, massive purchases is because often with Mercury, the planet of communication, so what we have available to us, whether it's in reading material, writing material, information, because Mercury is how we share information, it's sometimes often not clear because the planet's doing a redo. So you'll often find if you buy something big around this period, it might turn out to be not what you expected it to be, or there'll be something you'll need to go over and redo, something that was maybe hidden from view. Mercury brings that lesson with it. So usually I find in the next retrograde period, and I think the next one is on the 29th of December, so we actually get one just in the Christmas period as well, going into the new year. So you'll often find that things will come around to be redone again, because Mercury retrograde periods are all about going into like that hermited energy and just learning, to go in and assimilate what we're learning. And we're getting this opportunity in the energies of Libra and Virgo, and whatever that means to you, because it will go back into Virgo about 2 weeks in, and that's when you get to uncover what it is in the energies of Libra that you're getting the chance to redo, with the industriousness and the precision of that Virgo energy. Personally, I love Virgo time because Virgo loves to work. It tends to escape into its work. So it's really important where you've got Virgo, and you know, if you are a Virgo, that you choose to do something that you love, because you're going to spend a lot of time doing it. It's almost like that Virgoan energy really wants to serve. It just does it like, it's like it comes in with that energy. And if it's not serving, and if it's not doing something, it's not working, it doesn't feel like Virgo gives itself a really bad rap if it's not offering something. And it could be anything, you know, you could work in an office, you could work in a shop. It doesn't have to have a massive label attached. It's just such an industrious sign, and it can create a lot with very little. So, you know, big shout out to Virgo. Right, also in the month of September, we've got a full moon in Pisces, which will be coming up on the 10th of September. And that's at 9:58 in the morning GMT time. And that's at 17.40 degrees of Pisces. And that's 18 degrees of Pisces. So that's going to be a lovely full moon. I feel like it's going to be quite gentle. It's a water moon, but in Pisces it tends to be a bit more watered down than, say, the intensity of Scorpio or Cancer, the other water signs. And then moving on towards later on in the month, we've got a new moon in Libra at 2.48, so at 3 degrees of Libra, and that's at 21:54, so about 5 to 10 in the evening GMT timing, and that's on the 25th of September. So those are two dates for you to be aware. If you know where Pisces and Libra is in your own natal chart, that will help you to see what's been activated. And probably in the Facebook group, I'll probably do more tuning around that to see what's being affected, because I think there's a couple of planets in Pisces, like Neptune, and then I'll have a look what else is there. And then I've got no idea about the new moon in Libra later on this month, but let's see. Right guys, so that is the astrology for September. So let's move on to the cards now. So I've just put these out as they are, so I'm not going to put in the description box all the cards I'm using, because it just changes every month. So I've got the Baroque Tarot by Lamucci Design, and I've got Rebecca Campbell's Work Your Light cards. I've got the Black Moon Astrology cards by Susan Shepherd, and I've got the Energy Oracle cards by Sandra Ann Taylor. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull these cards out now as I go. And I feel like this is the way that I'm going to use them. In the order I'm going to use them, probably. I'm just saying those will go there. Right. And then the Baroque, and then I'm going to start with the Black Moon Astrology cards, because we're just going to carry on with the theme of astrology. Right, those are going to go there. So I hope your September's going to be a good one. I feel like these Mercury retrograde periods are, if we can almost get with the program and realise that they're actually a really good period in our lives to actually create and to make things, especially with this one being in mercurial signs. The mental faculties, well, we're getting a tune up in that area, so it's going to be interesting. If you know where that is in your chart, if you can actually look at the degrees where Mercury is retrograding, you can actually see the houses it's affecting, and if you've got planets in those houses, you will be impacted even more. Right, so I'm going to ask Spirit now, please. What are the energies for September collectively for anyone watching this video? And this is for September 2022. So what are the energies that are coming up for us all during September 2022? The energies for 2022. Well, they're definitely saying health, to start with health. So let's see what comes out in the cards first. So we've got Void of Course Moon missing. So this is quite interesting actually. So if the Void of Course Moon Missing card, what this is it's all about, in astrology, there's every couple of days the moon transits through the 12 zodiac signs, and there's periods where it's just like floating around. It hasn't entered the next sign, but it's left the previous one. And these are called the void missing periods of the moon. And we've also got the second house of owning. Didn't really expect that to come out, but let's just see what that's about. And then we've got the third house of messages. Okay. So that's interesting. Let me just look at these cards as they are. Okay. Interesting. So I'm going to go with what I get anyway, which was that, because we are in a, so when you do the numbers with September in a 2022 year, it comes down to a 6, and we're in a 6 year. So if you add 2 plus 2 plus 2, you get 6. If you add that to 9, and then you deduce the numbers down, hopefully I got this right, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, yeah, it comes down to 15, which is a 6. So we're actually in a 6 month for a 6 year. So the 6th house in astrology is to do with health, routine, almost order as well. And funnily enough, it's ruled by Virgo. So when I picked up that Void of Course Moon Missing, the first thing that I heard was, for many people, this is going to be about health this month. So there's going to be an opportunity for them to look at what's out of misalignment in their lives. So what Spirit is saying to me is, this year, a lot of people expected it to be a lot more action orientated than what it actually has been for them. I can actually say, hold my hand up here and say, I really agree with that, because I hit the ground running this year, but then I've really spent quite a lot of time in the quiet, and I've had to learn to be okay with almost being bored. So it's almost like this energy that's out there in the world of this constantly having to be productive. So it's even permeated the world of spirituality. It's like when you learned all these neuro hacks and all these, it's all hacks, it's all, you're doing something to get something out of it, which I completely understand. There's nothing wrong with that. But what I've really learned about this journey on my own spiritual path is it's actually about not doing stuff to get things. It's about complete simplification of your life, and that will look very different for everybody depending on their own personal journey and their circumstances. But I feel like this month in September is almost like it's a regrouping month for many of us to look at what is going to be unestablished and re-established in our lives. So there's going to be some area of our life, whether it be our routine, our health mechanisms, that we're going to be looking at this year. Well, they're saying a lot of people are being guided to look at it this year. A lot of people haven't looked at it, and they still rely on an external agency to tell them what they're supposed to do with their health. And what Spirit is saying is the whole point is and for some reason, like the second house here doesn't really have anything to do with the 6th house of health and routine, but I think there's another message coming through about this. But I've got to stick with the Void of Course Moon Missing, and I feel like what this is it's not a time to just to be out there, and you know, and it's not going to be a month to be launching things this month, guys. In September, it's going to be, you know, we know it's going back to school time for many places in the world, but actually for many people, it's actually going to be, there's going to be a lot of internal decisions that are going to be made on, this is not working for me, I'm going to change this, or like a real understanding. Let's just say like you're in a job and you just know like the environment is not sustainable for you as a person, even though money is a concern and issue, especially right now where I'm in the UK. There's things going on which are just ridiculous, which actually is going to affect everybody unless you're very, very rich. And it's going to have to be corrected because it's got out of hand. I think this is what this message is going to be about. So what I would say to you is September, there's going to be a focus on health for many people. And that health doesn't have to always be about the physical bodily functions. It can actually be about, energetic health, psychic boundaries, psychic hygiene. What are we available for and for whom and in what way? And actually, you've got to understand that you will change as a person and you grow, and your needs and your desires and your requirements energetically, physically, mentally and emotionally change as you change. So this is a readjustment period where there might be a little bit of tweaking of certain elements of your life right now, but they will be necessary adjustments in preparation for, say, winter or for summer if you're in the southern hemisphere. But also, I just feel like what I'm hearing is it's a course correction for some people where they've got a little bit too outside of, I don't want to use the word balance because that's very generic for everybody. Balance is different for everybody. Like I prefer the word equilibrium. And I feel like this is necessary because you're starting to see where, you might not have a tolerance for certain things anymore, and that can be anything. It can be listening to certain things, it can be people, it can also be, I'm noticing it myself, like last week, Spirit said to me, just get ready to transition into new platforms because it's coming. And then all of a sudden I start to hear all these teachers and people that I follow saying, oh, I can't share my content freely on here, so I'm going onto platforms where I'm uncensored. So that, again, that's an adjustment that's being made, and it's coming in very organically and naturally. It's not forced. It's almost like that person woke up that day and they were just noticing that, the posts aren't getting out there, the reach isn't. I mean, I've been like this for years with my work, which leads me to believe that I'm probably shadow banned somewhere that I'm unaware of. But I also know Spirit protecting me. The people that need to find me for the deep work we do together, they always find me, and they find me through people, the connections that we all make. And some of us are making them online, some of us have made them online. So again, it's not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. There's some great elements to social media platforms, but let's not be in any denial about the misinformation and the censorship and the damn right sanitization that's gone on, that doesn't, you're never going to be able to control it because it was never set up properly where it was moderated. And for whatever reason, I don't want to get into that now, but I feel this is to do with all elements to do with health. What's missing needs to be addressed, and you will get your answers this month, guys, if you're willing to listen, you're willing to work with the right people, whether they're experts, whether they are doctors, functional medicine, holistic, metaphysics. I work with incredible healers myself on a regular basis. Whether I'm sick or not, I will still work with them because it's about keeping my energy high and not maintaining it, but it is maintenance, but it's health and it's wealth and it's abundance, and it's just having everything ticking along nicely. It's not waiting till things get to an emergency or get worse. And some people, part of their journey is going through an illness or a sickness, whether it be terminal or otherwise. That is part of their soul journey. Some people actually have a soul contract to go through these journeys to wake up certain things within them they want to learn. So that's the void of course moon missing there. So these cards now, let's have a look at this. So we've got the third house of messages. So this is communications. This is hearing, seeing, knowing. what I'm getting around these cards is during September that some of us are going to get some really clear guidance on what to do with our money and our resources. And what I will say to you is that there is going to be, and this has been a message I've been getting for quite a few months now, that there is going to be a structuring of the financial system that's coming over the next 12 to 18 months. And what I'm hearing is not to have all your eggs in one basket. I actually got this message for a client the other day as well. So there's 3 significant currencies that are going to be affected by this. Excuse me, sorry. So the 3 main currency markets, I don't know what this means, guys. I'm not really a financial expert, so do your due diligence on this. But I feel like the current market that we have is unsustainable. You can't keep printing money and then guarantee that against any possible crash. And what I'm also hearing with this, I need to be very careful what I say on here, is that so there's certain let's just say the word perspectives, but you know where I'm going with this. So there's certain strategies that certain people have in certain places that I won't mention. You're just gonna have to join the dots here, guys, because you know these channels are all censored. It's a strategy to try to control, to try to again, they think they're being smart, that they've got it all economically figured out, and then actually what I'm hearing is it's going to backfire, because you can't outdo divine wisdom. Ultimately, nature will always correct itself. So what I'm hearing is that I wouldn't have everything in one place with a high risk. I would have my debts paid off. I'm not doing this to scare anybody, guys. I just would be smart about it, because I just feel like one of the strategies is that, you know, you squeeze and you squeeze and you squeeze people, because then you force them into a system, so they have to comply. It's all about control and power. It always has been. It's not the first time this has happened. It's happened in other settings and other lifetimes, and it always imploded. It never worked. It's just that a lot of the time we have spiritual amnesia about this, but I certainly don't, from what I can see in the cards. And what I'm just hearing with this is that it's like you'll squeeze and you'll come up with all these divisive actions, is what Spirit are telling me. But actually, you will be surprised what communities are joining together in the background of the fact that, you know, energies have sped up, and we've reached this tipping point. There's more than enough people now who are very consciously, spiritually aware. And what that means is they're more willing to act on their intuitive nature, often without any proof. And a lot of these people are already connected. The communities are already connected. And there'll always be somebody within these communities to help another, to support another. And all I can say to you with this is that I feel like we're getting more and more signs and symbols coming up now in the world to show us that there's an imminent shift that's coming. So I think what Spirit are just saying is they're giving us a heads up to excuse me, to have everything sorted. So it's like not being indebted to everybody. Again, if we're living out of our means, we're not in equilibrium, are we? That needs to be adjusted. So what I would say with this is that there are going to be times coming up and I think we're going to start to see it in September, because the tipping point is now that these strategies that were supposed to make people comply haven't worked. So they're just getting a bit more bombastic, is the word I'm hearing, in their approach. But actually what that means is it's affecting more people, and more people are they're not going to comply. It's actually going to backfire, they're saying. And what it's going to do is it's going to leave certain establishments having to fix the mess that they've created, that they haven't set up. And what Spirit is saying to me, because my guides are just all about truth, is that a lot of this has been planned. Don't be in any, denial or disillusionment that it's all because of one thing, or it's because of this, or it's because of that. We have to remember that war makes a lot of people very rich, and it also keeps people in fear, so therefore it keeps them compliant. So I'm not going to go on about this message anymore. I just think what the message is just, liquidate. I'm not a financial advisor, guys, so I'm not here to give this. None of my readings are about, you've got to just feel in for what you get yourself here and what I'm saying. But it's just to have, create whatever freedom you can in your life, where you're not relying on these external structures to bail you out, or to bail you out of debt or whatever. And try and just minimize your debt at this time, and be fluid in your approach with your resources. I think it's really key at the moment. And I do think this energy crisis that we've got in the UK, there will be answers for it. I actually think that the government are going to have to put in some remedies, because they knew this was coming for quite some time, I'm hearing. And they've done what all dysfunctional people do, which is like, there's a big pink elephant in the room, we just don't want to deal with it, and there'll be another band-aid that will come on, and then another band-aid. But ultimately all these structures are on the way out, guys. So we have signed up to be here at this time, and we will be okay. If anything I can tell you is that Spirit will always make sure that we've got what we need if we listen to our intuition. If we don't, and we're always giving our sovereign power to outside to these external powers, or what we think are powers or agencies, we're never going to learn that the sovereign power begins with us. And we'll get guidance to do what we need to do. So I know some people have started growing stuff. I know some people are buying water filters. They're not relying on, they're becoming more, people are starting to learn to become more and more sustainable, which I think is really important. Right. So that's those messages from the astrology cards, and we're going to move on now. And I'm going to see what the Rebecca Campbell cards. I'm going to pull out I'm going to pull out all the cards together, actually, guys. Let's see where we're up to. So the messages for September. Let's just have a glass of water. Messages for September, please, Spirit. There'll be a lot of methodical approaches. If you really go into the cave this month, there's going to be a lot of methodical approaches and answers to your questions. So September 2022. September 2022, collectively, what are the messages for us, please? Thank you. Okay, let's just see where we're at with this. Yes, it's definitely going to be. Right. So what's this about on here? Area. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's what you're directing me for. Okay. Oops. That definitely wants to come out. I just feel like there's two different worlds going on here. It's so interesting. This is like 5D and this is 3D. And I think for some reason Spirit want me to focus on this, yeah, because the envy cards come around the 5D. It's like, you know, like when some people can't understand when there's all these world events going on, but you're still like, you're creating abundance in your life and you're moving on with your life. Now this is like, again, as I'm saying that, Spirit is saying to me, this doesn't include people with their head in the sand that haven't learned, that don't see the bigger picture, that don't see, because the thing is, as you go along your spiritual path, guys, you're not afraid of darkness, you're not afraid of seeing the things that are falling apart about our society that just don't work anymore. You're totally on it, but what you do is you don't give fear to it, you harness your energy. Now this takes time to do, it doesn't come like immediate or natural on the path. There's a period excuse me, where you have to take time out and you have to like, and this, what Spirit's saying is it happens regularly as you're changing, your energy's shifting and you're changing and you're becoming more and more awake, is that you have to see everything for what it is, because then you start to realise how you can contribute energetically for better outcomes for yourself and your communities. And you realise that, you know, we've got power in numbers. Yeah, heart chakra in the world. How we make the world a better place, as contrived as that may sound. Right, so this is so interesting because the first cards that came out here are Akasha. Your guidance is divinely guided. So anybody that's making moves this month, it will be only pure divine source guidance, because the no card has come out. Wait, postpone, pause and say no. So it's not the month in September to make massive moves and decisions. You might start to see the cracking of the foundations, and you might see some uncomfortable stuff which you need to see, because the Tower card has come out. So where there are shaky foundations, you'll get shown them, and the Judgment card is around this, which for me always brings, you know, it's like really clear, pure guidance, and what it's showing you is where you are going to be making the moves towards the end of the month. Now I've got the inner temple here, devotion and tune into the pulse of your heart. So this tells me that this is going to be a very internal month. This is going to be a month to be going within. And they're saying, when you often say this in readings, people go, oh, because they want like the action, they want the excitement, they want like the Leo time that we've had in July and August, which is great. But what I'm hearing is that this is all about preparation for some people to shift their energy upwards. Excuse me, sorry guys, my throat isn't great at the moment. I wasn't well last month, so just my throat chakra's getting a massive clearing, and it's getting a massive upgrade, so apologies, but it is what it is. I can't, you know, hide it. I also don't want to stop readings because it's happening. I just think it's just important to just tell you what's going on. So we've got break the chain, ancestral patterns, healing and rewriting the future. So there's going to be a massive opportunity in September for a lot of people to wake up. And we've got Anna, grandmother of Jesus, seeding the lights, laying foundations in the divine plan. Now around this we've got the Five of Pentacles, the Page of Swords and the King of Wands. So there's an element of learning here. People really starting to say, changing their energy. And the Five of Pence is often about being left out in the cold, poverty stricken. And what I get from this message as well is that collectively a lot of people are going to all of a sudden be like, what have I been paying money for, my taxes and my national insurance, into these institutions that are not fit for purpose? There's going to be a lot of people who are, I'm not going to say angry, but they're going to be very disillusioned with societal structures. And there's almost an element of, well, what the hell has been going on? So the King of Wands is like the entrepreneur that comes in and goes, right, you're all fired. You've all been on 100k a year. What have you all been doing? You've just been sat on your you-know-what. You're all out. I don't want people like this in my institution. So it's like there's this energy that's coming in September that's really clearing, which Virgo is. It's not only brilliant time for a tune-up in your physical health. Virgo for me is like the master detoxer, and I feel by the time we get to the autumn equinox, is that on the 21st of September, there's going to be a big energy clearance collectively for a lot of people, and this can be in your communities in different areas and elements, and in the UK there's going to be a massive expectation on our next leader to sort out the mess that they've been allowing to accumulate while they've been, what I'm hearing is, pussyfooting around with a so-called leadership contest which none of us get a vote in, and they're going to have to hit the ground running. But it's September, it's a Mercury retrograde, and they're going to be hit with an awful lot of problems in one go that they're not going to be able to fix. And the other one is going to be the NHS, Spirit is saying here. But the King of Wands is here. So the King of Wands is like, we're going to do a massive do-over. But I feel this is going to happen towards the end of the month. And I think there's going to be a lot of people in September that are going to do a massive do-over in their life. And it could be like, somebody deciding, well, look, it's not happening for me having children. I'm just going to pan that now. I'm just going to focus on what I can do with what I've got. So it's whatever is the no in your life at the moment is calling you to go within to the portal of your heart, because the answer's there for you to see. And it could be when you actually really go in and you do a bit of breath work and you breathe into, so you do proper heart math breathing, and you resonate with the electromagnetic energy, the current going in your body, in your heart, and you tune into what your heart resonance is telling you, that actually you just holding on to this no and trying to fix it is actually what's been really holding you back. Now again, I've got to keep this generic, guys, because this could be about anything, and I want everybody to be included because it's energetic, and when it's energetic it's collective. Because what you've got is you've got an opportunity to completely rewrite the future here, which is actually part of your divine plan. So what I will say to you is, whatever is seemingly blocking you right now, and it could be a health issue for some people, for some people it could be emotional, for some people it could be about their anxiety, it could be about stress, is actually you're getting a call to stop being out in the cold and to learn something new, to finally get the answers that you need. So the Tower is the moment when everything falls apart. It's actually the blessing in disguise that you've been asking for. And the Judgment card comes in and it says, look, the divine plan is going to get shown to you. It requires of you to let go, to just say no to stuff. Like, as I said to my friend the other day, like, she was telling me all the things that were going on in her life, and I could feel the stress coming off of her on the call, because it was like, well, I can do this and I can do, and I actually said to her, because I don't do drama and I don't do it in my relationships either. To be honest, I don't have the time to listen to people spend hours on the phone to me talking about the dramas, which they don't actually need to be in if they make a different choice. And I just said to her, you can say no to stuff, because I said there's an awful lot going on. And then the next thing is like, I'm really exhausted in this. And again, it's all about, well, you're actually contributing to your own problems here. I know that's harsh, guys, but this is the world that if you want to live in a free 5D life and you want to come out of that 3D dross of drama, of problems, of shit not working, you have to get clear, and you have to stop taking shit, and you have to start learning to say no. And that sometimes no is to other people and to things that are just not working, and that's all about being honest with yourself, because ancestral patterns and healing are, well, my mum and dad did it that way, well, my family do it that way. Yeah, you are your family and you are your loved ones, but Your ancestors are up there now looking down on you, blessing you, walking with you on your path, witnessing your amazing life that you're creating. And they're there going, well, you know, at least like they're doing it this way and we didn't have the opportunity to do that. So that pain and that challenge that your ancestors went through opened up doors for you. So maybe part of your life now is just not walking that same path, is actually learning that just because they did it that way doesn't mean you have to do it that way. And what Spirit are also telling me is this is what we're learning as a collective energy, as a human race, is that just because we've done all these things in this certain way, it doesn't mean that, you know, we're going to get it right every time, but it means that we need to be open to the new. We need to be open to the sovereign way, which is the way that serves the communities. It serves connection. You know, the King of Wands is air. It can be Aries. It's fire energy. It's action. But what I love about the King of Wands is, you know, as a divine masculine, he does not waver. Okay, the King of Wands goes, yeah, okay, I'm out in the cold. This is shit. It's not working. The Page of Swords is there going, right, there's something here I need to learn mentally. What am I not assimilating? What am I not going, my faculties are not absorbing. So it's almost like through loss, we learn how to sometimes become the king in our lives. And that can mean, well, I didn't know how to do it, so now I need to learn how to do it. And also the Page of Swords can be sometimes a little bit like an immature energy of like, well, I'll just cut that out and I'll cut this out. And actually we don't learn from that situation of what it was trying to show us. And the King of Wands is just, it's surveying and then it's taking action. So I know the no card is set there saying, you know, it's not time to make big decisions, but the thing is the King of Wands knows. The kings and the queens are they're sovereign. So they're not like princesses and princes that they need rescuing or they go to rescue people. The king does not attribute his time to things that are not worthy of his time. So there's going to be an awakening for sovereignty to a lot of people. And also I feel a lot of people are going to be asking questions about, well, why do people not have enough money to heat their homes? Why do people not have enough food on the table? We live in a Western society. We chuck out millions of pounds worth of food every day. There are things that we need to redistribute the wealth, and this is what the king is here to wake up. He's here to wake this up in our communities about distributing the wealth, because there's all these, like, and this is just my guides, they're so funny. But they don't take any prisoners around this. They're saying, look, there's all these people going yak, 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 and I'm a CEO and I'm this, and they've got a massive following. And it's like, okay, what are you doing in your community to redistribute the wealth? You've got all that money. Do you need all those buildings? Do you need all those houses? No, you don't. You can share what you've got. And the thing is, look, there are always going to be people that are going to take advantage, but we can break those chains. We can put in protection mechanisms. We can put in due diligence to stop that from happening. So there's something big shift going on here in September, a big cleanse energetically going on, not only with money, but I just feel like some of these things that we're seeing that are really uncomfortable in our world, we have to see them. And it's just the way it works. Because we can't break patterns on things we can't see, and sometimes they have to be really uncomfortable before enough people will go, actually this is just not working anymore. Now moving on to the other side of things is that I feel like this is in the 5D. So I feel like there's people here who are building, they're already aware of this, they're already aware of the fact that we need much more sustainability in our communities that are not around this 9-to-5 slavery. If you go to work and you have to be forced back into the office because you can't afford to stay in your house, these, like, they're already there looking for solutions. And so whereas there's people waking up, there's also people here with the solutions. And actually the envy cards come out, so there is going to be a little bit of disparity disparity between the two parties, but what it is the 3D world secretly wants to be in the 5D, but you need to do the work to get there, which is you need to do the cleanse, you need to do the internal work, you need to do the shadow work, you need to look at your ancestral wiring and rewire and reprogram yourself. You need to do the work, you need to heal your trauma. It's not about perfection, guys, it's about progression. You can live in the 5D world, which is that there is abundance and there is enough for people. I would really simplify by saying, are you a glass half full or half empty? How do you see the world? Because how you view the world will really directly impact what resonance you are. A bit like wiring, what are you repelling? Are you repelling abundance, or are you in alignment with it? So we've got the sun here, which is like, look, there's always a solution, it's just on the way. And even if I go through periods of this, I will always get what I need. That's the glass half full girl, that's who I am. Patience, again, it's not about wanting quick fixes or, well, I've manifested the love of my life, so this should come in like that. Well, maybe the love of your life is going through their own clearing process, but they're on the way, because the Blossoming Abundance card is there, and it's not on your time, it's on the timing that is divinely guided for both of you. And I'm hearing for some people that will be October. Again, the 5D world is showing us the healer of the ages. We have the ability to heal all these problems in our world. It's just that it does take a requirement of us and our energy to orientate it in a completely different way, and actually to really go in and to look at some very uncomfortable subjects that a lot of people still do not want to look at. But we've got, it's so interesting because as I've just said that, I've realised that the card is Magician in the mirror, so we have to look at ourselves, the journey that we're on, where are we heading, and cornucopia. I mean, do you actually even believe this can exist? And then we've got the fourth chakra, which is Archangel Raphael, which is always about the higher heart and the world. So the world card is always about, it's about shining the light on subjects, and Spirit is saying I need to read this card out to us all. What am I on for time? Just looking here. 47 minutes already, and then I'm going to pull, I'm just going to do some tarot and see what comes out there. 29, the world, expansion and opening up. See, this is a thing that I had to learn very early on with readings, is that when I first started off, I'd be like, I can't say that because, you know, there's no proof and whatever. And then what started to happen was they'd say, well, give the message anyway. It's not your message to decide whether you're worthy or not. Like, my ego just needed to be quiet. It wasn't about me. But, you know, there's an element of, you know, if there's a bit of people pleasing there, which I had in the past, I'd be like, oh God, you know, I can't say that, there's no way. And then what was happening more and more was clients would come back going, well, you know, like, you know, when you said this, and I could even tell that I didn't even think they believed it. And they said, well, this actually happened. And what it was you're only reading what's already in their energy field. And what the reading can sometimes do is it can connect the client with what's already part of who they are, but they've maybe just forgotten, or maybe they've gone through a lot of loss, or they've gone through a very difficult period. There's a reconnection that happens in the healing with themselves, and sometimes you don't know how it happens, it just does. And the thing is, we always have to hold the best outcome for everybody, because that's what unconditional love really does do. And if there's this sense of, oh, well, you know, I don't want you to get that because then I'll be left behind, that's still a lack mentality. It's not a mentality that's filled with, because if you want that for someone else, that means that you want it for everybody, because you know there's enough to go around. Right, so this is expansion and opening up. The man in the picture is looking out over a bay, above which is the beautiful sphere of the earth. It's rotating. This card is reminding you to expand your vision and contemplate some much broader options. The world is wide, so there's a lot out there to consider. In the modern age of technology, this could specifically be referring to creating or expanding to a more global network. through the internet or social marketing. Drawing this card also lets you know that you have unlimited resources available to you, and now is the time to think big. As they say, the world is your oyster, so get ready to gobble it up. And the affirmation is, my life expands into boundless horizons with unlimited powerful energy. A world of possibilities is open to me now. And I will say this, as I was reading that card, what I heard was that there are still a lot of people that have been really affected by this lockdown energy that people have been in. It's like there's still in their nervous system, in their wiring, is this, there's something in their energy that's still signaling to them that there could be possibly something about else that's going to happen. And look, I think we know that in our world, that there's always, like somebody said to me the other day, oh, the world's gone mad. And I understand what they're saying. I appreciate what they're saying and where they're coming from. They mean well, but the world hasn't gone mad. The world's fine. The world's going to carry on without us. It's what it is that the light has shone on our world where there is the separation, and we're just seeing it more clearly. And maybe I don't have the answer to this. You would have the answer for this for yourself, which is maybe that is asking us to look at, well, where do we put life on hold? And I know in this last couple of years we really have had to remain flexible with things going on. There's been a lot that has been out of our control, but there's still things that we were able to do for ourselves, which meant we could make that sovereign decision. It was still available to us, even if it meant moving country, we could still do it. And I know people will disagree with me on this, but you know, I gave up moving to a country because I didn't agree with the rules and the regulations. I don't want to live in a society like that. And my values are so important. I need to live by what I believe in. Otherwise, I'm just going to be a BSer. And I couldn't sit here and do this work with you if I'm going to just go, oh yeah, it'll be okay. It doesn't affect me. So it doesn't matter to me. No, I can't live like that. If I don't believe in something, I'm not just gonna stand by and just go, oh, you know, they're just telling us to do this and that. No. I know I've worked with spirit for so long now. I can't be in denial about things. I can't. And actually what really surprised me was the amount of people that claim to be on a spiritual path, but they don't live it. They just say it, and they want of it, and they ask of it when they want stuff, when they want their life to go right, when they want stuff. That's nothing to do with a spiritual path. That's just being egotistical. And that's harsh, guys. I know it is, but it really opened up my eyes to see. And I actually don't love anybody any less. I just realised where they're functioning from, which is, you know, I want a car, I want a baby, I want a house, I want a partner, I want to be married, I want this stuff, I want this life. Well, yeah, that's great. Good for you. I'm more than happy to help you with that. There comes a point where it's about, well, what are you doing to contribute to your community? Are you participating in the game of fear, or are you participating in the game of life, which is freedom and sovereignty and the freedom to choose and the right for people to be who they want to be and not be controlled by external circumstances, which actually didn't benefit anybody. All the information's coming out now, but it's all been censored so nobody can see. So everybody's just head in the sand. Oh, you know, that's over now, be quiet about that. No, actually, the truth is really coming out, because some people's lives have been so affected medically and health and, monetary, because they can't work, by some of the things that they were coerced to do, which actually didn't benefit them at all. And this is the thing, real truthful spiritual teachers, they're not popular. They're not popular because we're meant to be put down here, guys, to trigger people, to wake them up. That's what we do. Please don't scapegoat us if we say something that you don't like in the moment, which ultimately will bring you everything that you've ever asked for, which is in the truth. Right, so messages for September, any physical earth messages. So what's happening, boots on the ground, Spirit? What would you like to share with us? Boots on the ground. Right, okay. The Empress, yeah, love it. Three of Wands, looking opportunities, surveying the land for opportunities, starting to see opportunities come in. When you're in this 5D vibration, guys, there's always opportunities. There's always ways through. It's when you're in the 3D, it's all about external circumstances dictating to you what can and cannot happen. Okay. So yeah, planting seeds, right, brilliant. So we've got the Empress here. The Empress is somebody who is abundant. Again, it doesn't matter what, you know, gender, sex you are, what you know, associate yourself as. The Empress is a divine feminine energy that we all hold. And she's just so abundant and fertile. And she's always like, she just trusts life. Yeah. What's that about? That's interesting. Okay. That's right, okay. I'm going to leave those and see what else comes out. Right. So we've got the Empress, the Three of Wands, and the Seven of Pentacles. So this is going to be a month to plant long-term seeds. This is not going to be the quick fix month, guys. So the Empress is like, you know, she's ready for her harvest, but she plants her seeds at the right time. The Three of Wands it's looking not at the past, it's looking into the future. And it's the card of opportunity. And it's being receptive to opportunity. Like, it's like literally I'm out there, I'm looking over the water. I'm even open to opportunities from overseas, and I'm not limited by geography is what I'm hearing. And the Seven of Pence is really long-term seeds being planted. This is not like, you know, like, well, I want to eat asparagus, so I'll just ship it from Peru in October. No, it's like I'll plant the seeds at the right time for the long-term growth. This is not about quick fixes, it's about long-term abundance is what I want to say. Now this is interesting because down here we've got the Death card, and then we've got the Five of Swords, and then we also got the Six of Cups, and we also got the Magician. And on the side of this that came out, now the Emperor did come out with the moon upside down, and what I feel is the Knight of Swords, as well, and then the Emperor came out upright, but that was just kind of spirit giving me a bit more information, but I just don't feel I need to put them out. And the moon upside down. So I feel like this will be a message for specific parties. There's something about the energy in Virgo and September and Mercury retrograde. So what it can do is it can bring people back from our past to offer resolution. And I feel like this is a spread of resolution here because the Magician card is here. So there's a power here to transform a situation from the past. Six of Cups is, it can be soulmates and it can be love. I'm actually going to pull more cards on this. It's where there was an unresolved fight. So there's the Five of Swords is where somebody's won out at the expense of other people, and the other people, and they've all got their backs to each other. So this is a situation for some of you in your life that wasn't resolved. It could be with family, it could be with friends, it could be with an ex-partner. And the Death card is there. So it's saying there's an opportunity to bring it to a close. It's like the energies are ripe, where this person is going to be guided to try and reach out and contact you. Because the Knight of Swords is somebody coming in quite fast. Mentally, I feel like they have been, with the Emperor and the moon upside down, they've emotionally been processing, and it's like somebody wanting to make amends is what I'm hearing. And because there's something within their path that's woken them up to realise that they can't move on unless they clear up their own mess that they created from the past. So this is somebody who was in their ego, it's quite childish, needed to mature emotionally, and they've got the power now to heal this situation. And I feel like genuinely they want to do it for both parties. So that what Spirit is saying is, if there's an opportunity for an apology, they're saying just let it happen, because you will get healing through it if you allow the person to come in and make their amends. And sometimes, now of course, if the person is an abuser, you don't want to have contact with an abuser. So, you know, that again would not be recommended. You know, the person would have to respect your boundaries, and abusers often don't. So you'd have to keep things secure and safe wherever you are and whatever you're doing. But this is somebody who is mature enough to say, I'm really sorry for what I've done. Can, you know, please forgive me, like Hoponopo. I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. Yeah, the Empress come out again. So this is somebody who wants to take charge of their life. This is the Aries energy. So this is somebody who can be quite headstrong, who can be a bit like, well, because I want it done. But what Spirit is saying to me, and again, this is for a very small portion of you that will be listening, the moon's on the bottom of the pack again. So this is somebody who's been really mulling over this. They've been wanting to do this for a very long time, and it might even be that they energetically do this with you, and you feel it. But what it was a situation where either somebody ran away and they either ghosted somebody, or they didn't handle it correctly. They were very childish about it, and it's almost like their unfinished business is just going with them because they haven't made amends. Yeah, the Two of Pence is at the bottom of the pack. It's a bit like, you know, I'm trying to balance everything, but I can't because my emotions here, the moon, my emotions, yeah, it's to do with relationships, guys. Two of Cups and the world, yeah. I just want to move on. I want to move on, whether it's resolution for you and them together, but they're not getting resolution in their lives. So I want to say, if this is love and they have met somebody else, the relationship's just not working because they never resolved their unfinished business on the offset. So whatever relationship they get into, it's just not going to work because they've just not cleared their karma, is what I want to say. And they're offering, Page of Cups, they're offering something. I feel like they're offering love. And they were dishonest in the past. The Seven of Swords is their Strength card and the Sun. But it's blessed if they do it, guys. It's blessed because the world means we can all move on. And whether you move on together, again, Mercury retrogrades they can always bring stuff in your... I mean, it's Libra, isn't it? Libra is the scales of justice. So, and it also rules marriage. So this could be, for some people, a person that they thought they could have married you, and they've effed up, excuse my language, and they're realising this, the Empress, they've now come into this Emperor energy, and they've realised, what was I doing? Because it's almost like, from their experiences now and the people that they've met, they realise that they had a soul contract and a soul bond with you, and part of finishing this contract for resolution, whether it's to move forward or to move apart. Because what will happen is, if you don't want to be together, you'll both move on then with other people. So this is what I mean, it's gonna bring on, as much as you might say you don't want the resolution, what Spirit is saying, no, the resolution needs to happen, because I'm just gonna say this is what I'm getting, is I feel like you're in the 5D and this person was in the 3D and they want to get to the 5D, but they don't know how to do it. They don't have the language to do it. And you know, they're on the way, they're on the journey, what Spirit is saying. But it's almost like this energy has held you back. Now, I don't actually believe anybody can hold any of us back, but I do believe when there is a resolution, when there's a lack of resolution, sometimes we just need to put it in a box and we need to say, look, I've ripped up the contract with you. Whatever you do with that is fine, but I'm moving on. But I'm feeling with this is a massive soul contract for some of us, that, you know, you've both agreed to resolve it one way or another. And what Spirit is saying is, it's got so uncomfortable for this person. They know this is the only way through now. And actually what it's doing is you doing what you did, which is being this Empress energy, whether you're a man or a woman or whatever, you're in your Empress energy, it's actually almost, it's forced them. So I don't know if this is twin flame energy, it's almost forced them to have to do the work, because it's like your energy's not shifting. You're not going to give up your sovereignty to say to somebody it was okay what you did, because you know what they did wasn't. And what that's forced them to do is so I don't know whether this is codependence or it's an energy of twin flame energy. I'm just getting this really strongly, and the Two of Cups has come out with the moon. I'm just going to ask them about that. If it is, can you pull out the card? Okay. It's twin flame energy. Six of Pence, the Hermit, and the Ten of Pence. So it could be the Virgo energy's come out, guys. So you know, there's wealth coming into both of your lives. There's a wealth of knowledge I'm hearing. However painful this situation was, guys, there's a wealth of knowledge to learn from it. It woke, Ace of Pentacles, it woke up something in both of you that has helped you to really, really grow up. So like, if you moved on and this person just delved straight into another relationship, it was like you became really independent, almost too independent, and it really allowed you to be very, very strong in yourself. But I think there's going to be something about this resolution that's going to help bring down the defences that's needed. And obviously you do this within the safety mechanism of what's right for you, your situation. But there's a real new start coming after this. This message is particularly for some people, because you've got the Six of Pentacles, which is, you know, this is actually the gift of money. So it's the freeing up of energy. The Hermit, it's wisdom. The Ten of Pentacles, so there's wealth, and, you know, I mean, the Ten of Pentacles is such a beautiful card. It's everything. It's family, it's animals, it's happiness, it's comfortable, it's feeling comfortable. This resolution hasn't allowed all the energy to be totally settled. And if you're honest with this in your heart, you know this. But the Ace of Pentacles is there, guys, and the world, everybody's going to move on. One way or the other, we move on together, whether we're in the physical or not. And what that does is it allows us all to free up our own energy. Wow, that's interesting, isn't it? So there's going to be a lot of resolution for some people, and obviously we can't make that happen, but it could be finally that apology that person needs to say. It's the act of actually saying, I'm really sorry for what I did. I'm so sorry that I hurt you. I'll always remember somebody once apologised to me that I loved dearly. They're no longer with us on the earth. And they apologised to me, and the apology was so genuine. It was just so real. You know, when somebody's being honest, immediately the relationship changed overnight, because they said, I'm really sorry. And they weren't even aware of some of the things that they'd done, but they knew that they'd hurt me, and they said, I'm really, really sorry. Please, you know, can you forgive me for what I've done? And they did it in such a loving way, and I just went, yes, of course I can. It was just automatic for me. And then what was brilliant was that person changed their behaviour, because we can all say we're sorry, guys, but have you actually changed your behaviour? Making amends is actually changing the behaviour, not even the apology. But there's something about this with an apology. And yes, I'm feeling like this is somebody who is already changing their behaviour. So they're doing that in the background, and they need to carry on doing it, because that's actually what real amends is. And I know this, I've done 12-step work myself, which is that, you know, we can say it and it's word salad, but it's how do you actually treat people? How are you with people? Do you actually say certain things to people, but you don't actually follow through with your action? Well, then it's not genuine, is it? Right, guys, so I'm going to love you and leave you. Very interesting for September. Quite intense, actually, those energies. Not all of it will resonate, but whatever does resonate for you, I just hope it's a really beautiful, enlightening month for you, and it brings resolution. I hope it brings a lot of creative, beautiful energy, I mean, that mercurial energy of Virgo and then going into Libra, I just think is fantastic for creating content and writing and, you know, artistry and, you know, and allowing yourself to go into that higher mind. So yeah, just have an amazing month, guys. And yeah, thank you for watching, really appreciate it, and I will see you soon. I'm considering doing more in-depth videos for the signs and maybe putting it up on Vimeo, but let's see. I'll pop something up here, I'll put a little video or in Facebook to let you know if I decide to do it, because I feel like I want to diversify my work a little bit now. I'm ready for some changes. So have an amazing month. Do let me know how you get on, and I will see you on the other side. Take good care, guys. Lots and lots of love. Bye bye.